Hi guys, it's Rena here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. Today we're gonna do a full face of one brand, Australian makeup brand here. I've just done my skincare last step, sunscreen by the brand Skin 104. I will be doing a full review on a lot of Asian skincare, sunscreen. So stay tuned for that. But as you can probably tell, we are playing designer brands cosmetics here in Australia, and the creams that I just showed are some new releases, and I've been just spoiler alert, like really loving them. So let's stay tuned and continue watch today's video. Start up, I've got the designer brand's Blur Primer, Blur Skin Like Magic. This is 25ml product. It's just one of those typical traditional pore minimizing primers. It contains peptide infusion, Q10, vitamin A, C, and E. It does a great job of minimizing my pores, fill up all the big pores that I've got, and just smooth the skin. I like to use it, but not to the point that I'll repurchase those. It's not my holy grail. I do it around my T-zones, and then I use another primer. It's called a Gold Elixir Priming Potion by designer brands. This one says helps to boost the radiance and firm skins. It got like 24K like gold flakes in it. I tend to use it for the rest of my face to give a bit of moisture. It's kind of like a jelly texture. I do have a full side-by-side review, this one versus the Guerlain one, because I do feel like this is duping a high-end version. So if you want to see the details, I'll leave that video up in the cards and down in the description below for you to check it out later. But this one feels very cooling, so I'm kind of looking forward to use this one in the summertime when it's quite warm and hot and I still want to put a 1,000 layer of makeup afterwards. I might see myself repurchase this one though. I do like the dewy sort of finish it creates afterwards. Combining with the polymerizing primer, my face is all ready to go. So the foundation I've been trying today is the designer brand's oil free foundation. Got SPF 15 plus. It says got a radiant coverage. I've got in the shade nude beige 646. It is kind of like my shade. I think it's a good match. It's not very liquidy. It's kind of like cream, lotion to cream texture, I would say. I usually dot my foundation all around my face, and as always I'll do half face with sponge, half face with the brush. I like to just gently blend things evenly on my face first, and then I go use the makeup to further blend or like mix it more better into my skin to create that nice kind of natural skin look. It does give a nice radiance that I can tell straight away, but wait until you see how the sponge works. It feels like I'm painting my face, right? It's not blending in very nicely. It actually created patches on my face. Like every time when I press the sponge onto my face, it just created a nice little circle. So I was really struggling trying to blend it. I thought, oh, I'll just keep blending, maybe that'll look better, but look, that mark, it's not looking good. So I'm finger crossed it will work better with the brush. I do think it definitely starts to work looking better with the brush straight away. However, as I'm brushing into my skin, I still feel like it leaves quite stripy marks. It's like it's sliding around on the top of my face. It's not getting into the skin like I would for a foundation, well, for a base product, because I've got a couple layers after this. I am relatively more happy with the side with the brush, but still it's just not a winning situation. So I thought I'll use the brush. Maybe I can blend the sponge side a little bit better, and then at least it's workable for today's video, and I'll test it out later. But as I was brushing, I was just really not happy, so I decided to blot some of the excess. I think maybe I applied too much because I had two pumps, so I'm just using that and wait until you see on the other side. I think the tissue actually sticked onto my face. Yep, that is a sign telling me this is not going very well. So I tried, I looked, I feel like it's maybe because of the sunscreen, because I had this similar but not as bad as this before with this particular sunscreen. Wait until the full review. So I decided to remove everything, start from scratch and back again. This time I did not use any sunscreen, but I used the same primer to prime my face, and then hoping give this foundation one more chance and it can truly perform what it's supposed to be. Well, at least it's got SPF 15, right? And I've learned just to use one pump instead of two. trying only half of the face first, just baby steps, shall we? Same again, trying to blend everything out evenly, nicely, and then straight away I think it works better when it's without the sunscreen. So that sunscreen is not like a super makeup friendly. And then go back with my beauty sponge. As soon as I apply my beauty sponge, I think that stripy sort of marks appears again. I can totally see the frustration here. I've got a feeling that this foundation just does not work well with the sponge. So I'm trying to show you how awful it looks on my skin. I don't know if you can truly tell, but it definitely looks patchy and not well covered. Like everything is sitting on my face, sliding around, and on the label it says 81% of gray skin looks beautifully natural. I need to find that 81% if they test it on like 100 people. I need to know what's going on. So I've decided to remove my makeup one more time. Skincare all over again, preparation all over again. So bare face, and I've decided to go with the concealer. Use the concealer to do my base and also cover some spots if possible. I've never used this one before either. It's their Glow This Way Illuminating Concealer. I've got two shades, 180 Beige and 181 Honey. So finger crossed, I've got this. Here are the swatch. The darker one is the beige. The darker one is the shade Honey. The lighter one is the shade Beige. So again, half the face first, baby steps, and I decide not to use my sponge at all. I'm gonna just use the brush to blend it into my skin. Because it's a concealer, I feel like the consistency is a little bit on the thicker side, which I get it's not the concealer's problem, it's what I decide to use, but I just want to make sure it blend into my skin, and it seems to be doing okay. Like, not the best way. I prefer to look for my base, but it's definitely a lot better than the foundation. So I just add a little bit more dotting around my face. Less is more is definitely my sort of principles now. So I think it looks okay. Okay for me to continue, but I do feel it's not giving much of coverage. Like, I can still see all the dark spots and everything. It kind of evens out my skin tone though, and it does have that sort of illuminating glow. It is what is claimed to be a natural finish illuminating concealer that melts into the skin for all day radiant coverage. I just don't think it's having a very high coverage. That's the only downside for a concealer in my opinion. This one also contains having aloe vera, vitamin C and vitamin E. So for a proper concealer, I've decided to use one of my Revlon concealer here. This is their Photo Ready Candid Antioxidant Concealer in the shade 025. It's a little bit dark for me, but I think it actually matches well with the concealer. And then I decided to use the lighter shade, which is beige, to highlight my T area a little bit. Just make it a little bit more, I guess, stands out, because I don't have a tonator. I say that pretty much in all of my videos. And for really brightening under my eye, I decided to go for Max Factor's concealer. Just use a tiny little bit. This one is really good for brightening your under eye or brightening areas on your face and give a light coverage. I do really enjoy this one, and feels very moisturized as well. This one's got skincare ingredients as well. I do really love this one. So now I feel like my face is looking a little bit more acceptable to move on to the next step. But the concealer does feel a bit tacky, so I decided to set everything with my designer brand Hydra Set Translucent Setting Powder. This is my Project Panion product, which I am currently like really working on it. It is good, but it is very powdery, and it kind of makes a mess every time I use it. I believe this is inspired by the Becca Hydra setting powder. Like, it's just really have that wet feeling, but because I have it for too long now, the wet feeling is going away. So this is how everything looked after I done all the steps I said and set my face. It just looking average, okay. Like, I wouldn't recommend this concealer, and I definitely would not recommend the foundation. Now moving on to their new cream products. I first got their bronzer. This whole line is called Quick Fix. This is their cream bronzer in the shade 845 Sunny. I think they only have one or two shades. It's very creamy. And the other side got a little applicator. I do like this applicator. I think it does well of applying the product on the face. Not so much for blending it in though, I like to use a Real Technique or any other brand's stippling brush. I used to have a bit of confusion with stapling brushes. Now I know they're designed for cream products. It blends into the skin very, very nice, natural looking, and you can always add on. There's no stripy mark. It's not moving my base away, and I know I have a horrible base and it still stayed on nicely. I just so in love. It's very, very natural. And then I tried their cream. I've got in the shade 846 Beachy. They definitely have a few shades here. A kind of like a nude shade in my opinion, especially when it's on my face, but I feel like it's kind of have a nice mixture of that pink and peach. It's very, very creamy, as you can tell. I was so enjoying swatching on the back of my hand. So what I like to do is to apply a lot of product on the hand, like excessive amount, and then use the brush to pick it up. So I'm already reducing the amount actually applying on the face, and then I use that brush to apply. So I'm literally just apply a little bit every time and build it up and use the brush to blend it again. It's very, very pretty. It's very natural. Got that nice dewy glow. I feel like even if you apply a bit heavy-handed, you can still get away because it had that nice sort of shine coming through it. It can just be a very burnt but lovely burnt look, nothing too heavy, too muddy. So I reapplied a few times just to emphasize to the perfect desired level that I like. And then I went for their highlighter. This I've got in the shade 844 Bubbly. I feel like they only have one shade of their highlighter as well. I hope they come up with more. This one is a kind of like champagne color. It's a little bit more darker than I thought, and especially they only have one shade. I hope they come with something slightly lighter or even slightly icy toned to just to add on the variation of the highlighter. But again, this one's very, very creamy, and because this highlighter doesn't add a lot of color onto my face because I have a yellowed sort of toned skin, I can use just my hand apply it because I just want that shine to come through. But I feel like if you have a really fair skin, I don't know if the highlighter will be just slightly darker, just a smidge, but you can tell from the video that shine, that glow, it's very, very pretty. So now I've done all of my eyes off camera because I use a Project Pen product. I'm just going to test out their mascara. This is their Central Stage Curl and Volume Mascara. I had a look online. They've got two shades, and this is a tubing mascara. So I was really hoping that I'm loving this one. It says it contains hyaluronic acid to hydrate and plump lashes, I guess. They've got a black brown, which is the shade I'm using. So it's not super black because I found this when I was brushing it. I was doing multiple coats, but it's really good at curling and kind of keeping the curl because that's exactly what I need. My lashes tend to flip down, so I love that mascara. And they do have a really darker one as well, like black. Moving on, the lipstick that I'm using is the sheer lipstick, and it's got a magnetic cap. I love that. I've got in the shade 574 Sunday Brunch. It's one of those my color, a bit of nude. It's very creamy, as you can tell, and it gives a nice shine. It's creamy, but it's not bleeding outside of the lip. I can actually use it to kind of line my lip as well as just fill in all the colors. I don't know if the finished look pairs the eye well, but I do like the lipstick, and this is everything I got. Quickly recap: no. Foundation, no. Concealers, probably not. The highlight of today are the cream products. Highlighter, blush, and bronzer. I particularly love the blush and bronzer even more. The mascara is good. It's tubing, so easy to remove and curls my lashes perfectly. The lipstick is a favorite for a long time, so I don't have to say more. And just quickly honorable mention my eyeshadow for today's eye look. It's discontinued, that's why I didn't say it before. That is all for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys the next time. Bye!